I'm Cindy Novak, Downsize Administrator with the Carolyn Stark Real Estate Team. Thank you so much for joining us for our Home Edition event. Today we've got a wonderful program for you. We've got Angela Halderson from Natural Healthy Concepts. She's going to be talking about brain health. She's got a lot of great information to share, and she'll also bring in some information on nutrition that'll be beneficial for all of us as we grow older. So take it away, Angela.
Hi, thank you for joining me today. My name is Angela Halderson. I'm an integrative and functional nutritionist and natural healthcare practitioner from Natural Healthy Concepts. And today I'm going to talk to you about brain health, how to keep your brain health and maybe regain some of that brain health that you may have lost. So today we will talk about the symptoms of a healthy brain. So let's compare you to somebody else and see where you're at. What's your baseline? We'll talk about brain dis-ease, how our brains get sick, some of the things you might be doing that can worsen brain health and ways you can improve it. We'll talk about your 6 top pillars of brain health. What are those 6 things that you can do to keep your brain health or improve it? We'll talk basic brain supplements because everybody wants to know what do they have to take. And then tools for better brain health. What are some of the things that you get to do to be healthier? So we'll start with healthy brain function. What does it feel like to have a healthy brain? You can see what is balanced neurotransmitters. Really easy. We don't have a lot of anxiety. We don't have depression. We wake up almost at the same time every day. We could fall asleep at almost the same time every day. We have good neuroplasticity. So neuroplasticity, really think of it as your brain cell moving. It's being fluid. And when it's fluid, we have a good memory. Nutrients can move across the cell, get into the brain cell. It allows us to make our neurotransmitters, so that keeps us happy, keeps us in a good mood. Allows for faster processing. So memory, learning, reaction time. Neuroplasticity also means we have a good supply of BDNF. You may have never heard of BDNF before. So BDNF is brain growth hormone. That is a good thing. We want a lot of that going on all the time. So you may have heard that basically our brain stops growing when we're 20. That's not true. You can regrow brain cells every single day. You just have to do the right things. And again, we touch upon restful sleep. You're going to bed at the same time. You're getting restorative sleep, deep sleep. You're getting the REM sleep. So that means you have a good, well-functioning brain. Okay. So some causes of brain dis-ease. You'll find that these causes of brain dis-ease are the causes of all chronic diseases. Too much stress, daily chronic stress. Toxins, that can be heavy metals. It can be bacteria, bacterial infection, viral infection, anything that can be lingering that the doctor might not notice. Certainly adverse food reactions. So a lot of people can think of like, oh, seafood, I'm allergic to seafood, I balloon up or I could die. Adverse food reactions are not necessarily that type of reaction. You can eat this food every day and it just over time makes you not feel that great and you can't pinpoint it. Might give you gas, bloating, constipation, diarrhea. Might not give you any of those things, but it can disrupt your sleep. It can make your skin dry or cracky like eczema or psoriasis. Those are typically related to foods. So infections, again, we touch upon bacterial, viral, mold toxicity, and then nutritional imbalances. So doctors don't always take your vitamin D level. That should get tested every year. About January, February, or March. Should be supplementing with that. You live in Wisconsin, you should be supplementing with that from September to May. But as we age, we absorb less of our food. So let that sink in a moment. If you're absorbing less of your food, you're not getting the nutrients you need that you used to. So test for nutritional imbalances as well. And all of those things can cause brain disease. Okay, so let's move on to those 6 pillars. What are those 6 things that you need to focus on for your brain health? And remember, we're going to talk keeping brain health and regaining it. So don't think you can't improve your brain health. You can. So really quickly, those 6 pillars are social interaction, medical health, sleep, physical exercise, mental exercise, you got to use the brain, and nutrition. So we'll break those down. We'll start with social interaction. Now me, I'm not a social butterfly, and I'm introverted, but I'm also not retired. So if you find that you're a retired person and you're staying inside more, that actually is not good for our brain. Getting out, meeting new people, putting yourself into a different environment teaches your brain to make new brain cells. It creates that BDNF. And it's almost one of those tools that we use to keep our brain healthy. So think, I'm going to go volunteer somewhere. I've never been there before. Well, the brain has to remember new faces, new places, and new tasks. And that stimulates your brain. We also need to stay connected and engaged with people. So now you have the whole pandemic. Staying engaged and connected can be harder for people. And we really have to think outside the box. Calling them more, having social distancing, but still having people together, using Zoom meeting, whatever we need to do to stay connected and have that engagement with people helps work the brain. And remember, you remember more and you think more clearly when you use the brain. Okay, so being socially interactive. Medical health. So being a natural healthcare practitioner, health is super important. Sometimes traditional doctors, I feel, really struggle to really help you. So you need to know things to ask for. You should have your yearly physical. That's free for most people or very low cost. And at the same time, have them test that vitamin D. It's a simple nutrient that doctors don't always test for, and they should. They might say, well, why do you need that? Have you ever been low? Well, I don't know. I've never had it tested. If you do stay inside more, you're low in vitamin D. If you wear longer sleeve clothes, you're lower in vitamin D. If you have darker skin tone, you're lower in vitamin D. And again, we live in Wisconsin. So from September to May, the sunlight is not strong enough to signal our bodies to make our own vitamin D. So CRP. CRP is an inflammatory marker. Good thing to know because your body can be very inflamed and you can feel fine. So you don't know if you have inflammation going on or not. Homocysteine. So homocysteine is typically used by doctors to measure your possible cardiac risk. So are you going to have a heart attack or a stroke? But there's a ton of nutritional science behind homocysteine levels. Tells me you're not getting enough B vitamins. So we want to look at that homocysteine level. B12. Why do we look at B12? There's a lot of information with B12 in memory, B12 in energy. And again, as we age, we absorb less food, or less nutrients from our food. And B12 would be one of them. So we can make less stomach acid as we age. That means our stomach acid isn't able to pull that B12 away from the protein, and we absorb less B12. So that can lead to less energy. It can lead to anemia, nerve damage, a lot of different things. Bone density scan. We don't get enough calcium, or we get too much calcium from bad sources. That can actually lead to higher inflammation, which leads to osteoporosis. And at some point in time, it is free, so get the scan. Lets me know how your bones are doing. Using a holistic healthcare provider, traditional, conventional doctors can be very useful, but they can be very harmful to your brain health. So we can see here proton pump inhibitors have been shown to increase the risk of dementia. Natural healthcare providers and even naturopaths in the state of Wisconsin are not considered doctors, so they cannot write you a prescription for a PPI. PPIs block mineral absorption. That can lead to osteoporosis, but also dementia. We need a lot of minerals to make our brain work and signal. Here's another one. Statin therapy and risk of acute memory impairment. So if you're on a statin, you may experience muscle aches all over your body. And the doctor's like, well, that's just a side effect. That's just a statin. It's not a big deal. But when we start to see studies where statins can impair your brain health, lead to memory loss, and possibly worse, some form of dementia, people start asking questions, and it's good to ask questions. So cholesterol never killed anyone. If it's too high, we ask, why is it too high? And traditional practitioners don't ask that. They just put you on a statin to make the numbers look good. So these are a couple of common medications used for anxiety, depression, overactive bladder. You may have that as we age. And then some people will use Benadryl for sleep, but they'll also use it for allergies. So all of these medications have been found to in some way impact brain health, and therefore it can lead to dementia. So some depression medications actually have a problem with nutrient absorption. So you have less vitamins and minerals going into the body. Overactive bladder, nobody likes that. You know, there's an herb for that and some exercises you can do versus taking a potentially dangerous drug that could increase your risk of dementia. And Benadryl, even though a lot of people can use that for sleep, actually does disrupt your sleep cycle. And long-term use of that can affect your brain. How many of you are guilty of this? So this is blue light. We all love or hate our little devices. Your cell phone, your laptop, your iPad, tablet, whatever that may be. There's a lot of blue light going on there. That disrupts your sleep cycle. That tells your brain to make less melatonin. That means we fall asleep later and later and don't sleep as well. And melatonin has also been found to reduce inflammation in the body. It helps modulate inflammation. So we don't have it so high and we have more of the good, okay? So we want to focus on sleep hygiene and no more blue light. So if you have trouble falling asleep, you really want to focus on a routine. And that routine may start at night, but it also goes through the night to the daytime. So a hot bath or a shower. You can use some lavender essential oils or not. It's really up to you. You can add some magnesium to the water. Magnesium will enter your body and tell your central nervous system to calm down. So just hot water alone is fine. It still tells your body it's time to relax. Go to bed at a set bedtime. Eventually your body will adapt and start to wind down at that time. We talked about the use of lavender. You can use that in your bath water. You can put it on your pillowcase at night, just a little spritz. That works too. And then finally in the morning, end that sleep cycle. Turn on the lights, throw open the window, invite the sun in, go outside for a little bit. That will tell your body to stop making melatonin and wake up. And finally, if your sleep is really bad, see an acupuncturist. They can help. Okay, physical exercise. I don't know how many of you are doing this. Not many of you. So aerobic and non-aerobic, so weightlifting. I don't care what you do, but at least 60 minutes a day. That is going to get the blood flowing. The nutrients are going to get going. It's also telling the brain, make more BDNF. Remember, growth hormone of the brain. So I have this next slide is great for you. So on the left side is an image of a brain after a person sitting quietly at their desk. This would be me. Now after a 20-minute walk, we can see the increase of not only circulation, but neurons in that brain. We know it works. Get out, get moving. Do it every day. Here's another one. People seem to need more science when it comes to exercise, telling them they need to do it. So there it is. Exercise increases brain growth hormone. Mental exercise. So mental exercise is best to be done earlier in the morning. That is when your brain's at the sharpest, okay? That can be meditation, even before you get out of bed. But brain exercises like crossword puzzles, regular jigsaw puzzles, all of those things are really great to get the brain thinking, making more neurons staying sharper. And I listed brightfocus.org and luminosity.com. Whether, I don't know if you have to pay for them or not, or if they're free. There's plenty of free things on the internet as well for brain games. Don't forget your local library. Lot of resources for you. It is best to do it in the morning, so remember that. But if you can't fit it in, then do it when you can. It's okay to do it in the evening, and it's still going to work. So being a dietitian, how many of you know that dementia is type 3 diabetes? I think most of you should have heard that by now. So what we don't want is sugar on the brain. When we have elevated blood sugar, like in diabetes, that does affect the brain. And you may not feel that right away, but later it can catch up to you. So having elevated blood sugars keeps your inflammation high, and that causes damage to all cells in your body. So I'm going to touch upon nutrition and your brain. What should I get rid of? What can I have more of? So you can find that balance. Sugar. Really reduce the sugar. Like little, if any. Start reading the labels. If it has sugar, cane sugar, molasses, honey, fructose, anything that ends in ose is going to be a sugar. Reduce, reduce, reduce. Find a different brand. White flour. So by now, I don't know anyone who willingly would use white flour. The whole flours and whole grain flour blends are everywhere. White flour will treat your body the same way sugar does. So it's not just the sugar on top of the donut, but it's the fact that the donut is made from white flour. And that hits your liver and causes your liver to store fat. So we have fatty liver, higher blood sugars, and remember, higher blood sugars is affecting the brain. So then you're not making that brain growth hormone, and you're not protecting the brain. Diet beverages, fake sugars. I feel like this is more of a generational thing. When I was growing up, the fake sugars were huge. It's important to stay away from them because fake sugars are nothing but chemicals. So instead of sugar from sugar cane that nature gives us, we're eating something that's made in a lab. And your diabetic practitioner may say, oh, yeah, those are good for you because they're not sugar. No, they're not. It's a chemical. So reduce the sugars, but say zero tolerance to artificial sugars. Processed fats. This is more of the stuff that you can't have. So this would be baked goods that are shelf stable. So think Twinkies. I can't say that Twinkies are great for anyone. Even a lot of potato chips or corn chips or anything like that, they're going to be used with oils that aren't so great for us. And we eat more of those, and that also can signal our liver to not be healthy. Our brain is basically all fat. So if you're going to eat bad fats, your brain will turn into bad fats. Folic acid. So folic acid is an artificial form of folate. The government puts it into a lot of our foods as fortified foods. So your grain-based cereals is a really big one, and your bread. But folic acid really can be more damaging to our bodies than just regular old folate. So really watch your additives. There's nothing wrong with oatmeal. Oatmeal has no additives, and it has plenty of regular folate in it. So watch that additive. Not good for our brain. So what are some of those things you still can have and should have more of? What's going to take place of the sugar and the fats? How about coffee and tea? People are always afraid I'm going to take that away. Nope, coffee and tea is great. They're both full of antioxidants. Technically, green tea has more antioxidants, but that's fine. And as long as you have your coffee before noon and it's not disrupting your sleep cycle, then you're fine. More monounsaturated fats. So monounsaturated fats are much healthier for our body, and it feeds our brain what it needs. So here we're thinking more fats from nuts, seeds, and fish. Okay, cold water fish gives us the most healthy fats, those omega-3 fats. So here we're talking tuna, salmon, mackerel, herring, sardines. You don't have to like all of them, but you should eat them at least 3 times a week. And really, that is as easy as a tuna fish sandwich. Okay? So remember lunchtime for those things too. More vegetables. Yes, more and more green. Eat more red, eat more yellow. Eat your colors. Keep a little notebook in the kitchen, little check marks next to it. Did I eat something orange today? Did I eat something green today? Had all the colors of the rainbow. They provide us with phytonutrients that feed our body and our brain. Same with whole fruit. So whole fruit is different than just sugar. So you can have whole fruit. It's loaded with fiber, so it doesn't increase your blood sugar nearly as much as that cookie does. Also has, again, those phytonutrients, the colors that make up that apple or peach, give us good health benefits and feed our brain. If you can do organic and grass-fed, do so. There it comes all down to the fat. Organic, grass-fed, they're not fed corn and soy. If an animal is not fed corn and soy, that means they are less inflamed. That means they have a better fat profile when you do eat their meat and you absorb what you eat. And then finally, intermittent fasting. So stop eating at 5 or 6. Start eating at 6 or 7. We're all intermittent fasting. Here's our basic brain supplements. So real quickly, curcumin. You should all be taking that. Really basic. EPA, DHA. That's your omega-3 fish oils. Or eat fish 3 times a week. You can do fiber supplements. So if you're still a little, diarrhea, constipation, alternating, that's the whole fiber thing. Ginkgo is a great herb. It increases the circulation to the brain, and it also acts as a brain antioxidant. And again, vitamin D, I can't say it enough. Now, glutathione is really important. It is the holy grail of antioxidants, but it can be difficult to absorb as a supplement. I usually prefer people to make their own or to use acetylglutathione. So every toxin your body comes into contact with, we're going to need that glutathione to get it out of the body so it doesn't absorb into the body and into our brain. You can also just eat sulfur-rich vegetables. So they're broccoli, cauliflower, bok choy, different things like that all give us our sulfur. Really great for our liver, will increase that glutathione, keep us healthy. For those people who really struggle but love to read, so great for the brain, I have these 3 resources: Grain Brain, Grain Maker, and the Mind Diet. They're similar. Grain Brain definitely takes out the gluten, which can be very inflammatory to the brain. Gluten alone has been associated with schizophrenia and dementia. So you take the gluten out of the diet, the schizophrenia goes away. Take the gluten out of the diet, mom remembers where she lives and she's able to walk around the block again. Can really be impacting to the life. They all come with recipes, so you can try those. You can get any of these at the library or online or at your local bookstore. In review, once you reach that stage in life where maybe you're not working full-time, maybe you are retired full-time, don't be a hermit. Don't stay inside. We need social connection, whether that's engaging with the neighbors, to volunteering, or getting a part-time job. Learning something new and having that social interaction is great. Get your yearly checkup. Know what labs you need to ask for. Focus on quality sleep. I hear it's better in retirement. There's less stress. Move more. When you have more time in your day, there's no excuse. So whether you're moving more in the morning or in the evening, remember 45 to 60 minutes a day, aerobic or non-aerobic. And don't think I have to lift 100 pounds to make a difference. 5 and 10 pounds works. Push-ups work. Brain games, crossword puzzles, word searches, or something online. Stimulate the brain, will stimulate BDNF. Take out the bad stuff. Look around your pantry. You know what you shouldn't have. We have pretty good instincts inside of us. We just need to listen. If you have any questions or are looking for a natural health care provider, reach out to me. If you have any questions about lab results or what tests your doctor should get for you, just reach out. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Angela, for that wonderful presentation, and thanks to you who are watching at home. And we look forward to seeing you in person in the near future.